Hello, good morning. My name is Tabs and welcome to episode 73 of the Grove podcast. Now, I hope you're all doing very well. And look, I'm sorry if the first thing that you thought about when you woke up this morning was Michael fucking Oliver. I'm really sorry for that. And it should have been the gorgeous Ricardo Calafiori. That's what we should be thinking about. And we will get to that. And we will try and focus. We will try and get to that, but unfortunately, it's not going to be the focal point of today. I'm afraid that we're not the beginning of the pod, and I'm going to borrow something from my what I saw in a thread by Girona Girl 1969 from the same old Arsenal podcast. And this morning and yesterday, I was feeling relieved, angry, raging, proud, happy, disgusted, and annoyed. And I still feel all of the above. I was talking with well, look, I'll introduce who's joining me today. So joining me to talk about that decision and the game itself. Jamie, how are you? Any Michael Oliver nightmares last night?
No,
or are you too hungover or too drunk to care?
I slept very soundly. Absolutely, yeah, I was fine. I didn't start shadowboxing in my sleep like I imagined.
Look, I'm actually glad to have you on. I thought you weren't able to. Well, a lot of people weren't able to watch the game live. You're out and about, so maybe your reaction to this maybe not as visceral as mine is. And as we were talking beforehand, I'm normally calm, collected, reasonable, rational, can explain context. But this has got me raging. This is, as I was saying before, when I saw the incident happen, I was just shouting "fuck off" at the TV, and I had to apologize to my son, apologize to my wife. And there's a lot of people out there. You're looking on the socials that you would normally, very good at balance and all the rest of it. No, everything is just swaying in a certain direction, and I think rightly so. And even 12, 18 to 24 hours after the incident itself. So look, anyway, in the show, we will go over the ultimately successful 1-0 win against Wolves, and then we'll also do a quick preview of the Champions League game against Girona coming up on Wednesday. But as I said, let's kick off. We have to kick off with the main incident, the red card. Go on. I've got loads to say. So, but I want before I dive in, what are your thoughts? You've seen it. Yeah. What's your reaction to the whole debacle?
Pretty sound, to be honest. Didn't have a problem with it. No, I mean it was.
Right. That's the end of the podcast. Goodbye. I'm going to do this on my own.
I feel like your next step is that you're going to start laying down a diss track and stuff at the moment. So, you're sort of looking that way at the moment, Tabs. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as angry as you because I didn't go through it in real time, and therefore I didn't have to. I didn't have to deal with the knowledge that we were 0-0 with Wolves whilst watching it. I've watched it knowing that we'd won 1-0. So that has definitely changed my emotions around it. Watching the actual decision, I mean, I don't really get it. It's a really weird one. I don't, and this is the main thing, I guess. Every time that I've seen it, kind of similar to you, look at a load of coverage of other people, I'm trying to work out, is it for violent conduct? Is it for professional foul? Because I don't think it meets the threshold in either. It's a really strange decision for me. And I almost wonder whether, on the other hand, if you sort of go, add the two of them together, then maybe you get somewhere close to a red. But that's not the way that decisions in football work. So it is a really, really odd decision. I don't get it, and I do feel for Lewis Skelly. It's just such an odd decision to see because there's two men covering. As far as I'm concerned, it is absolutely a professional foul. It's 100% a yellow card, but I can't see how it crosses that threshold into red. And I'm just amazed that VAR didn't intervene on it. But I don't know. There's that weird thing with VAR in general, isn't there? About what is a clear mistake and whatever, clear incorrect decision.
So it was given for serious foul play by Oliver.
I don't get that.
And it was confirmed by VAR. But it's not serious foul play. No. It was a yellow for stopping a quick break from the edge of the Wolves penalty area. And there were clips of MLS's studs sort of being high on the shin, but they're not directly on it. They're sort of going down and not really scraping down, and it's just sort of like he's, and he's not stamping down. There is contact, but it's minimal. There was, and the benchmark of whatever you want to call it for serious foul play, is things about speed, endangering the player, excessive force.
Yeah.
There was none of that, and he was miles away from goal. So it's just your typical take one for the team, get a yellow card. It's what City have been winning championships off. Do an early foul, take the hit, and go. And the only thing that gives me pause for thought is the fact that I'm in agreement with Jamie O'Hara. And if I'm in agreement with Jamie O'Hara, if I'm TalkSport, then I may have to question myself. But look, but joking aside, they're all condemning the decision. Alan Shearer, called it, is like, how on earth down in England the VAR thinks that the referee has got that right, criticising it, on Match of the Day. Pat Nevin, I've never seen that in my life. I'm stunned by the red card. Even Mike Dean, who apparently maybe is backtracking this morning, said we've got grounds for appeal. It's just like it's bullshit. I'm sorry, I would call it. It is absolute bullshit, and there are multiple layers to the bullshit here. I don't know where to start. So let me start with Michael Oliver. And is he incompetent? Is he corrupt? There's a lot of people going in big on his corruption. Now I try and steer clear of that. But is it incompetent? Is it bias? I mean, what the fuck is going on? Corruption has multiple layers to it, so I don't tend to go down that route. I'm steer away from conspiracy theories, but I go down the route of bias and incompetence, and this is and I was thinking, it's unconscious bias, and because there is unconscious, but they're humans, they will have unconscious bias, but it's now got to the level of conscious bias, and the record with Oliver, you got things like 50 times he's refereed City, not a red card. 57 times he's refereed Liverpool, only the one. 54 times he's refereed Arsenal. I think it's 7 or 8 red cards. Now that's 13% of the games that he referees against us, there will be a red card. Now, is that within the tolerance? Is that within the variance? No, that's absolute bollocks. And we've only won 23 or 50 odd matches with referees. So there is something there. And this is also the guy who sent off Martinelli against Wolves for, again, a never to be seen red card where he got the 2 yellow cards within the space of 6 seconds. He was the one that didn't give Kovacic against City 2 years ago a card, let alone a yellow card, because he didn't want to negatively impact the game. And it's fucking hell, what's going on? It was like, Rice sent off, never seen again. Trossard sent off this season, never seen again. Saliba upgraded to a red, not being seen again. And there are, every fan always feels that they're hard done by the refs and every decision, but the evidence is stacking up here, and we are calling it. We are ref differently. Don't know what it is. Don't know why it is. This is where the bias come in. We're not moaning. We are moaning, but we're moaning with reason. Yeah, we are ref differently, and I'll give you an example. Newcastle are ref differently. Look what Joe Linton did yesterday. Not even a card. And Newcastle and Joe Linton have been getting away for weeks, for months, and whatever. And I don't care. Fine, if they get away with it, then fine. Then we have to get away with it. But the inconsistency, and I loved this comment that I saw on Blue Sky or the rest of it. It's selective enforcement, and I thought that really sums it up, because it's just killing us, killing the game, and is just completely unfair. Because if you look at that, and even within the game yesterday, Gomez's second challenge was a worse challenge than MLS, but he doesn't get the red card. He gets a second yellow. Fine, he gets sent off, so it's an easy decision, mate. But that's a red card. So you cannot. It is bullshit. It is, the evidence is there. This isn't moaning. This isn't, oh, woe is us. And this is a problem all around. I can see you nodding. What do you think? It's incompetence? Do you think it's in bias? Do you think it's corruption? Where do you stand in terms of why always us?
So I definitely think there's bias. I'm not a big
Conscious bias. Do you think because it's Arsenal? I will not because it's Arsenal, but it's easy for me to make this decision because of how I feel against Arsenal.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of I think there is a bit of conscious bias, and I don't think that ever really has been a time where you don't have some form of conscious bias in refereeing in football anyway. There's relationships between players and referees, managers and referees, and ultimately clubs and referees that you, as long as you have a human out there, is always going to be there. There's going to be some form of bias that's in play. I do think we fall foul of that. I think there are reasons why we fall foul of that, some of which you could argue perhaps slightly come down to who we are as a team and who we've got as a manager and who we are as a club, maybe. And to be honest, I do think sometimes as fans we can be a bit moany. I do think, as a manager, he can be a bit bolshy, and I do think as players they can be a bit violent. So, in fairness, I do sort of understand a little bit where it comes from. I having said that, so I kind of think we're a team that probably. We would probably have one of the bottom third disciplinary records in the Premier League if we were refed absolutely fairly. Is kind of the way I look at it, which is actually probably rubbish because we're actually
we're not a dirty team.
Well, no,
you look at us compared to Newcastle. You look at us compared to Newcastle. We're not a big aggressive team. We've got big players, but we are not an aggressive team. We haven't done what Stoke did. We don't do what Newcastle did. We don't go in and try and bully teams from an aggressive point of view. We are big and we're strong, but we don't kick people off the fucking park like other teams have done, and they get away with it.
Nobody really does that in the Premier League these days anyway, I don't think. But I know exactly what you mean. But I think we are big, we are physical, we are. I think we're generally pretty fair with it. But at the same time, mainly, we do get involved in a fair few professional fouls. We are quite happy with that. We do time waste. 100% we time waste. These are the things that we mainly do, to be honest. And Mikel absolutely instructs at times for us to play right on the line. And that, I do think... And this is not this is our problem or Mikel's the problem. This is more of a just rationalising from my perspective. I think some of the bias that might be there with some of the refs is somewhat earned, but the decisions that we've had this season and probably for 18 months now are way out of kilter with that. They are way over the top, and it is weird because I don't think I really remember a run of any side in the Premier League in the last 20 years that's had this sort of run with refs where it feels so unjustified.
And ironically, I think Wolves last season were on the wrong side of a lot of funny decisions, things like that. I just feel like
Gary O'Neill,
there was a lot of time, there was no narrative around them. No, you could see it, and I felt sorry for them. I said, "Fucking hell!" Again, because it started with Onana punching the guy in the head, and they got away with a 2-2 draw at the beginning of last season. Man United Wolves. No, they had lots of stuff, but again, I don't mind them being incompetent, but fucking be incompetent for everyone. It's that selective enforcement. If you've got a 50-50 decision to make and it's Arsenal, they will veer to the utmost punishment. Right, the Rice sending off. No one's been sent off for a second yellow. It should have happened yesterday. Gomez actually kicked the ball away and he's on a yellow. Didn't happen. Trossard, again, sent off for the same thing. Not seen again. Saliba upgraded to a red. The next day, there was a Chelsea-Liverpool game. Same incident. No, upgraded. And it's sort of like, again, why are they selecting to enforce these fucking rules on us, but not on others? And again, you look at the Joel Linton challenge yesterday. Now, you will get those inconsistencies, and that's fine. But really, as a body, as PGMOL, you should not get these big variances. And game state shouldn't matter. If you're going in a certain way, you're going in a certain way. You just... It's the fact is that there's two things. It's the way we're being refed generally, but then also Michael Oliver, there is an issue there, and he should never, ever, and just I'm going to repeat that on loop until you fall asleep. Referee us again. Because I put into our group chat yesterday, what he did, oh joy. As in before the game at 2:30, and there were lots of people predicting he's just going to go in and fuck this up for us. Going to find a way, going to do something to fuck this up for us, and he did not have to make that decision. He didn't have to. So this comes to the next point. What is the fucking point of VAR? Because if VAR is not there to go, look, Michael, I in the heat of the moment. You may have not had the best angle, all the rest of it. You can sort of see why you gave it, but have another look because we're not too sure. What is the point of VAR if it isn't for stopping stupid decisions like yesterday?
I think we've clarified that in situations like this, it's a chocolate teapot, though, isn't it? It's useless. I mean, yeah, I suppose the way that I'm sort of looking at it is again, I was really confused by the decision. The only thing I could see it as being was almost, it was like an instant double yellow for being a little bit of something and a little bit of something else.
That doesn't exist. So
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That isn't a thing. But it's the only way I can see the red being a thing. And that in that particular instance in particular, I don't know why there's not somebody shouting down the line going like, Michael, mate, what's going on here? What did you give it for? What am I actually reviewing? So yeah, I mean, I would be very, very interested to know what went on around VAR and whether they, what they talked about with it.
Nothing. They didn't look at it, and so this year,
somebody's got to have looked at it.
Yeah, but 30 seconds. It was hardly.
I want to fly on the wall in that place. And
it was nuts. It was like no time at all. No, but they can spend hours and hours over like a minute, an offside or whatever, but you can't. And because there is one angle, you see studs going down, but fucking this idea that, it's above the ankle, therefore, fine. I'm sure you can go and find hundreds of challenges above the ankle. Where's the punishment there? And it's funny how the tolerance to get involved, they've set it so low. Until it's Saliba and a yellow-red card situation, fine. They said, we're not going to get involved. We're not going to get involved. We're going to hit the bar low. Again, fucking hell, it changes every week. Where does this tolerance lie? And this is it. And even Mark Chapman and Pat Nevin were talking about this on Five Live, and they're calling out the nonsense. And it's good that the media are calling out the BS now, calling it nonsense.
Yeah, I do that.
That's that. Because we might be reaching a pinnacle, a pivot point in all of this. But this is the whole point of VAR: is these egregious decisions to say, look, I think you've made an error in the heat of the moment. It happens. Don't worry about it, Michael. We're not calling you out. This is the whole point. But no, it's a fucking boys' club with no accountability, no auditing, no nothing. So they can do what the fuck they like, however they want, and no one can do anything about it. And it's a boys' club because, Michael Oliver, unfortunately, he is one of our top refs up there with Anthony Taylor. They're the big boys who go off to do FIFA, UEFA. So imagine you're like a junior within the PGMOL or a younger and say, oh shit, it's Michael Oliver. Can I really tell him that he's made a mistake? Oh, Michael, you're fine. We'll move on. It's just a fucking boys' club. And they're there just to protect each other. And this is why you need to separate, church and state or whatever. VAR needs to be a different organization run by fucking techies because it is a technology thing who know the rules, who can just be, there we go. And it's got nothing to do with the PGMOL. So there's none of this connection because all they do is protect each other. Even Mike Dean said it. Oh, I didn't send him to this because, he's my mate and I didn't want to make him look bad and all that shit. No, that's bullshit. And VAR, I think, is a good idea. I think it works. It works well in Champions League. It works well in World Cups and all the rest of it. Because there isn't that boys' club thing. There isn't that protectionism and all the rest of it. And I think it can be a good idea because you want to stop these shit decisions and you've got automated offsides and so it can be good. Our application of it is appalling. It's absolutely terrible. And we've made a rod thrown back and we're trying to change the goalposts, every week. Within a season, you change the goalposts. We all know that situation. August, all bets are off, or it's like we're going to slam, and then come September, come October, that thing we're enforcing back in August. Yeah, it's not. We're not bothering with that. I'm sorry that you've been impacted by it. So now the question is, if you're the Premier League, the PGMOL are ruining your product, and here's a product. They've got to step in and go, what the fuck? Stop it. You know? Do you think they will? Do you think they care? Or do you think, oh, they're talking about us, we don't get, what they say, any press is good press? Do you think the Premier League are happy with the PGMOL, what they're doing?
I'll be honest, probably, yeah, to be frank. I mean,
really?
I think for people around the world, the product with a little bit of scandal is quite entertaining, to be honest. Let's face it, scandal is entertaining. There's a sensationalization element to the Premier League with these kind of moments. So, yeah, I don't get me wrong. I think there will be the Premier League is actually 20 clubs. To be frank,
yeah. Well, this is the thing. I think this is a problem. This is a problem for all the clubs. Now we're focusing on this, but this is a problem for everyone, and I think we're reaching a pivot point. Sorry, Karen.
No. I was going to say it's a problem for 20 clubs, and ultimately it's going to come down to when those 20 stakeholders, are all together and feel that they've been so greatly aggrieved, and there are ultimately more of them than there are those that don't feel aggrieved, right? And I think that's where I struggle at the moment, is just are enough other clubs feeling really aggrieved at the moment? And you're right, there was, I do remember actually with Wolves last season, they did they kicked up quite a fuss. And I think sort of took it to the press and so on, and definitely things all over social media and whatever. But there hasn't been that much. I think I remember a really indignant Liverpool stage where I felt that I really deserved it. And this is kind of the issue, is that you get a little bit tribal over these things, don't you? Sometimes when Liverpool went through a bit of a spell of really complaining about the decisions they were getting and accusing of corruption and all this kind of stuff, I just sort of got tribal over it and just went, oh, bugger off, I'm not suggesting that necessarily happens at an ownership level of clubs, but I think it's indicative of the self-interest that you feel around your kind of viewpoint in these particular kind of matters. And I'm not sure Premier League will have an interest group that's sizable enough over this issue at any given one time. Yeah, it depends on their viewpoint. There is that thing. I like that the scandal brings in numbers. Is what people like. Is it sustainable after a while? You do get a bit bored of scandal. You do get bored of it, and you just want to see. I when I saw that at half time, I don't think the PG. I don't think they were making any money out of me yesterday. But I was prepared to just like, fuck it, I can't be asked. I was like, what's the point? I really can't. I was going to turn it off, go for a walk, because I was just so pissed off with that. You would have turned off the stream that you'd. Yeah. Let's not go down there. I was in America. I was in America at the time. I've quickly flown back. But okay, there's people paying for it elsewhere and whatever. But even if it happened at 5:30 or whenever, I was like, I can't be asked for this. What's the point? What's the point? There's people that have travelled to this game, and it's ruined the game. There's people spending lots of money, and it ruins the spectacle, and so on. And I was just like, really, is this what it's come to? If basically it's all about all these people with main character syndrome, and I'm borrowing that from the North Bank pod that I listened to this morning. Is like these referees, the best referees are the ones that, who was refereeing today? No, they've all got fucking main character syndrome, and that's driven down by Howard Webb, because they want to be front and center. They want to be part of the show, and they should not be part of the show. They think they're part of the entertainment. They think people have come there to watch them. And no, they haven't. The best referees are the ones you don't even notice. And we say this when we come to the Champions League. Now, the Champions League refs can make some odd decisions, can make some frustrating, pernickety decisions. But you very rarely come away going, this, that, and the other. And, who was this guy here and who was that guy there? You'll get the odd exception because it happens. But these guys in the Premier League, they think they're part of the entertainment, and they will act like they're part of the entertainment, and they will do things to make sure it's about them. And that comes down from Howard Webb, and it's not fit for purpose. The PGMOL is not fit for purpose. Now, people talk about we've got the best league in the world, trade, TM. And they say, well, why haven't we got the best referees in the world? I think Ian Wright put out a post on there. I don't think that's so easy. Trying to bring international refs in and stuff like that and making that a regular thing. We should be able to have a system
that with English refs and then a separated VAR to manage this properly. And this is where the Premier League need to come in and force change and do something about it, because it's just, it's BS. And unless they do something about it, and it's just not going to change. We're going to have the same thing. And another thing that will help, so you mentioned a really good word there, the tribalism and the bias. And look, we're biased. It's an Arsenal podcast. Of course, we're going to be biased. But I think this is a problem holistically. If you just had a manager, if you had the Wolves manager yesterday saying, yeah, that was never a red card. I appreciate we benefited from it, and that's going to help us. I'm not going to say that we won't benefit from it, but it wasn't a red card for me. Or if you had Hertzler, instead of doubling down on but what's his name kicked the ball when he was out of play this, and Rice was ruining it. No, if he said, I think we got a bit lucky there, but that's football. If they start saying things like that, then that will maybe help. But everyone's so fucking tribal and so can't see the wood for the trees that you can never admit anything. And sometimes admit that you got a bit lucky with something. That's just refereeing decisions. Like you're not criticizing anything, you just benefited from the result of it, because soon enough they'll get screwed over. So I don't know. Do we appeal? Should we appeal, or do you think there's going to be enough furore over this, that bit like the Fernandes red card? I can't remember which of the for Man United. That got rescinded and no one had to do anything.
Well, I mean, whichever one comes first, right? So we should appeal it 100%. I think that's pretty obvious.
Do you not think we're going to get an extra match ban for a frivolous appeal?
I think in this instance we might be all right, But honestly, I think an appeal is absolutely necessary. I mean, in terms of what the next step's going to be, it is a struggle, because I, as I've said, I think a lot of this is it's a bit like the chattering between refs. I imagine when they're together at Lillishall or Stockley Park, whatever it is that they meet up these days.
Lillishall, I haven't heard that for a long time.
I might have done an FA youth camp at some point in it, so I still remember it well, and there was some refs about then.
I thought you were going to say Bisham Abbey next or something like that. So
Bisham Abbey, actually, that'll be another one,
That's only down the road from me. As far as I'm concerned,
all of the corridors of power in football are still somewhere in sort of just outside of London in the fields and places. Yeah. It's what it is. But anyway, so wherever they do get together, wherever they're having a chat, when there's four of them meeting up as a crew to referee a game in Newcastle or in Liverpool or wherever it might be, and they're in the hotel the day before and they're having their chats. I think where we are, a lot of it is that we probably went through a period where let's say we are a bit chippy, we're a bit niggly, and we've got a lot of intensity around the players and the manager. And I think they've got to that point where they're just moaning about us in those sort of bits and pieces of company and saying they're horrible to ref, aren't they? They're not nice to ref. Don't like them. They're a bunch of idiots, aren't they? And ultimately, that's where you get that sort of that bias that creeps in, because they're all having these chats, they're all talking about it, and then they go and confirm it on the pitch ultimately. And I think we've just got ourselves into that kind of area, and I don't know.
And then the press do the narrative, like Dark Arts FC. We don't do anything different than any other clubs. Like, no, we're the Dark Arts FC because we happen to be good at corners, because we happen to be this, that, and the other. Every fucking team does it. But it was that thing that there was a Brighton game when Arteta laughed at the referee at a ridiculous decision. Oh, and guess what? Anthony Taylor. You know what? That 50-50 decision that could be a penalty, maybe not. Never seen that happen before. I think I'll give a penalty because you just pissed me off. Yeah.
Exactly.
But they need to be thicker skin. If you're going to be a fucking referee, you need to be thicker skin than get a bit upset when you get a bit laughed at. For God's sake, you need to be perfect. These are professionals, and they just bring themselves into disrepute, their reputation and everything. And because there's no accountability, they can do what the fuck. This is why they're allowed to get away with this stuff. If there was accountability and Anthony Taylor's job was on the line, he may think twice about making ridiculous decisions. And the same for Oliver. Sorry, but you're right. I think you're going to say like the press drive the narrative,
No,
commentators.
exactly that. I think it just becomes this sort of this machine, if you like, around around the club. And it's just become this bias that's in there with the rest at the moment. I just don't know how we influence that. I know how we go and appeal this. That's the next steps for this particular decision. But how you undo that, I don't know. I know there was talk of, I think it was with Gary O'Neill last season, there was talk of him going in and talking to all the referees and having it out and having like a bit of a bridge building session. I wonder if that is necessary and whether it does work in any way, shape, or form. But you know,
you should be able to criticize. You should be able to criticize and highlight things that have gone wrong, and if they're open for dialogue. And they were honest with themselves. So yeah, no, I understand that, but it's not. It's just everyone's pitched against each other, and it's them versus us. We're going to protect us. We're going to protect us. You know, the clubs, the PGMOL, the Premier League. Everyone's out with their own self-interest. That they're not interested in saying, actually, what's best for everyone here. You know, they don't want to be giving dogs abuse because you know what? If there was more open dialogue, you could forgive them more. You know, they can understand the pressures. It's privilege pressure, but it's still livelihoods at stake. And I think Arteta put it nicely. We don't work so hard all week just to be screwed over by some teacher with a power drive sort of thing. You know, that's not what he said, but the sentiment was there that people are. And it can be all ruined because of one decision. And that's sport, and it goes and it's fine. But when it's so bad and it's so consistent, it's just. And no wonder then he's put a microphone in straight after the game, after Newcastle last year. It's a disgrace. Well, it was a fucking disgrace. Never seen that before. Why is the rest of it? So, but then that gets all built up and all that. Whereas if there's a bit of a bridge saying, "Look, hey Michael, I understand you're upset, and I can see why. Next time, could you maybe dial it down?" But we'll do better ourselves. Then everyone gets along better. But no one's interested in that because it's all about protecting and there's no olive branches, there's no nothing. So now we're going to always get this. Yeah, Arteta riles a few people up. He riles rival fans and all the rest of it. Because he's not a cuddly, warm character. Klopp used to do the same thing, but his big shiny white teeth would allow him to get away with murder. In the past, refs would be intimidated by the likes of Alex Ferguson. Arteta, he's just so focused on doing what's best for Arsenal. The rest of it, and maybe and that's just not him. Is to be warm and cuddly with these arseholes in the middle who are ruining his day. It's really hard, and and he's so. Maybe as he matures, he'll get better at that. But yeah, there's an element there that but I don't want him to change. Why should he have to suck up to these guys just to get us a few extra decisions? Because eventually that doesn't work anyway, and it's not genuine. So, don't know. Any final thoughts before we move on? Because we've been talking for 30 minutes. 30. Oh my god! Well, at least I got it out of my system, so I can enjoy the rest of my day. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I think we've probably the only thing that I will say is actually that you've made me probably review my own use of saying I don't think it's corruption when actually when you discuss the kind of the way PGMOL work in being a bit of a boys club and kind of all protecting each other, that is a level of corruption. So actually I should say I'm totally open to calling that a level of corruption. And yeah, I think that's something that needs to probably be called out because there is so much self-service. There is no, that organisation does not feel like one that is being run as a well-governed, serving the needs of its of those that it's meant to. So yeah, that's just one thing I will say is actually that's really, I think that's sort of. It's busted me a little bit because I hate using the word corruption. It's one of the worst words to band about around football and the internet. But I absolutely agree. There is that element of corruption in place.
Okay, if there's any lawyers out there, Jamie's email address is because I never said it. I thought it. Anyway, so there we go. No, good point. And let's move on. Let's focus on the game itself now. I think we've given the likes of Oliver, PGMOL, VAR enough airtime. So there we go. So onto the format, as we always do for the game. In your post, in your drunken stupor and post Oliver missed. What were your highlight and low light from the game, from what you saw of it?
I think the low light's fairly obvious, and to be honest, the highlight. Well, to be frank, when all you've watched is an extended highlights and then match of the day, that's how you've dealt with the game. And it was probably Calafiori's goal, to be honest.
Indeed, no, that's a good one. Look, my highlight, it was Bellegarde was making a run down the left. I don't think they would have shown it on the highlights. He was making a run down the left side of the box, and he was basically just falling over the whole time. And he sort of dribbled it out of play, fell over, and hurt his groin. And it was just so funny. It was actually just made me laugh. It was in the second half, and it was like a bit of levity throughout the game because it was just it was just very very clumsy. And it just tickled me, and I couldn't stop laughing about that. My low light, other than the obvious, was whilst in the US watching the game, was Lee Hendry was the co-coms, and he was just so fucking annoying. I had to eventually watch the game on 1 or 2, and I said to my son, who came with me to the States to watch it, do you mind if we put this on mute? And no, because he was just spouting. He just would not shut up, just spouting nonsense, just talking out of his arse, clearly having no idea about how Arsenal play and how our season's gone. It was just irritating. He was like saying, "Oh yeah, Rice is out of his usual double pivot role with Partey, and he seems to be more playing up front and more forward thinking." Yes, because he's playing left fucking 8. That's why. Okay, so really do your research. So yeah, I was already in a bad mood. Bad mood for the game. So in terms of the lineup, we had Raya. So some surprises, MLS and Saliba back in the team along with Timber and Gabriel. Then Rice, Odegaard, Jorginho, and not Jorginho, Rice. Have I got the right thing here? Sorry, I think I put the wrong lineup in. So it was Rice, Partey, and Nwaneri, and then Martinelli, Havertz, and Trossard. So Odegaard, I think, was sick. Marino was injured. I mean, what are we doing to these guys in training, for Christ's sake? And then we had starts for Nwaneri, and I said it was surprised to see MLS and Saliba. Maybe were they rushed back? Don't know. But with Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri, that's Arsenal are starting 2 English players aged 18 or younger in the Premier League game for the first time since February 1998 against Crystal Palace. Matthew Upson and another Italian stallion, Paolo Venazza.
Paolo Venazza was so handsome, though. It's not even the same 1, 2, 3. Don't you compare yourself, Tabs? Like he was a beautiful man, very beautiful. Unfortunately,
not a very good
footballer, as what will tell you.
So an interesting team, and then the bench was lots of defenders. Jorginho and some guy called Sterling that we're never going to use. Any thoughts on that lineup? Did you see the lineup before the game, or were you sort of on avoidance?
No, I saw the lineup and was kind of excited by it, to be honest. Just more than anything, just due to just due to Miles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri. To be honest, I think that was sort of the exciting stuff going on. But yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, Oda, massive concern. Hearing that it was only illness was a hell of a relief. Thinking, well, let's hope this was just a proper bug. But yeah, that was just my instant reaction. I kind of caught it as I was out and about yesterday, and I just thought, this is fun. We're going into a game with the 2 of them. That's this time, 5-6 months ago, you'd have said that would only happen in the League Cup. So the Premier League shows how much those 2 players have come on. Yeah, no,
it was interesting to see Nwaneri play in the Odegaard position, and I think my son put it nicely that he looked a bit lost, because there's one thing playing wide right.
Yep.
That you've got less. It's an easier position to play. It's a bit simpler. Less space to cover. when you're playing and you're trying to, he can't replicate Odegaard. No one can. But when he's trying to play in that sort of more creative role, more spacing, he was a bit in and out of the game. So there was some lovely bits and lovely possession, but then other times, where was he, or he wasn't in the right place or the right moment, or his spatial awareness wasn't quite getting there. So I'm not going to criticize him at all. And sort of in a way, this game is divided into two, pre-Oliver and post-Oliver. So, but again, I was interested to see how he would perform in it, and it's something he could grow into. But yes, we definitely felt we were missing that. Now, we know Odegaard's not been on the best of form, but he has been creating, no matter what, he's still been creating a shitload of chances in the last 3 games. I mean, it's in the 40s or something like that, which Ranieri was nowhere near replicating, and we focused on our left channels and right channels instead, rather than anything central. So what was you? Yeah, well, in terms of the reaction to the game as a whole, Arteta on Sky Sports said, it's incredible what the boys did again in the context that we were thrown in again. It was about character, personality of the team, courage and intelligence to play the game we wanted to play. It was exceptional. So I think it's hard. It is hard to analyse. I think, what did you make from what you saw in terms of our performance before the red card and then after the red card?
I think it's been super hard for me to judge from the highlights. I've actually done probably more judging. It's not often that I'm in this situation these days, actually, where you can say, highlights because it was a 3:00 away game, the way that I tend to look at a lot of these actually is kind of listening and saying, what is everybody else saying about it? And actually, I think in particular, the fact that non-Arsenal pundits sort of praised us in the way that we dug in the way that we had a lot of discipline in that game, definitely is the bit that made me come away going, great, okay, that's good to hear. I'm really delighted. We didn't absolutely creak this game whilst, and it was only because they got red as well and blah, blah. It felt like all the reaction that I've seen has been very much in praise of the Arsenal and saying, overcame it, had a lot of discipline and did well. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on a couple of performances. So in the highlights, the 2 players that stood out for me were probably Rice, who seemed to be absolutely doing bits, and very far forward is what I understand from Lee Hendry, whose wonderful insight was shared. Can't remember where. And the other one was Kai Havertz seemed to be very, very involved and missing a couple of big chances. For somebody who watched all 90 minutes, what were your thoughts on those performances? Rice
has been doing what he did in the last 2-3 games. You said you can see he's fully recovered from the summer, and I think we've managed him really well. He's played a few games, started and been on the subs bench, and I think we managed him well over the Christmas period and New Year. And he was everywhere, and he is the driving force, especially when Odegaard isn't there. He's just an ever-present driver. He's just always in the screen, be it defensively or attacking. He's just everywhere, and providing good defensive cover, good energy, attacking cover. Yeah, so great. You wish he'd maybe take a couple more shots. Unfortunately, with him being down the left channel, there was a lot of times there was openings there where if he would trust his left foot, he could swing and shoot across goal. But he wants to come inside on his right foot, or he'll tend to pass it out to Trossard. So it basically. Imagine how he's played against Villa, against Spurs. The last couple of games. Zagreb. That was the performance. So no, you love him, and it's great to see. And his engine is back, and he's running, and he seems to be running properly. In terms of Havertz, it's a tough one because it was a typical Havertz performance. He ran his legs off. He ran himself into the ground. There was one bit at the end of the game, he just couldn't pick himself up because he's playing every minute of every game up front. And look, our attacking problems, Havertz is not the problem. Okay, it is a general attacking issue and lack of options. The problem for Havertz is there are no alternatives. Okay, so he is not the problem. So I will forgive him times where, yes, he could have done better with the stooping header. Again, it's do I wait for it to come on my foot and then I can side foot it into the corner, or do I stoop down and head? And they say headed the ball back to where it came from.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the goalkeeper was standing where it came from. So and it was it was in between a good save as well as he could have made. They showed on Match of the Day a big chunk of the goal that he could have gone for. But the angle of the header and what it meant, that was more if he let it come to his feet. Whereas heading wise, it was just you just hit it full on it and go back and then in the second half there was that headed chance that went just over. I think Timber may have got a touch or didn't, but he jumped in front. So it was one of those ones you're reacting very late to it. So I'm not going to dig him out. Yes, if you've got an out and out striker, so you have Isaac there, he scores because he's that sort of striker. He scores one of those chances. It's Havertz, not so much, but he does so much work for the team and he's so integral to all that we do and how we play that I can forgive him. It's unfortunate, and because we won in the end, he's not going to get too much focus, and we can focus on just the running and the battling and everything else he does. So those are my thoughts on him. In terms of the overall game, it was a bit more. It took us a while to get into it. We were at the back. We weren't so steady. It took us a while. It was quite even. I think according to the sort of what was the field tilt or the momentum, it was pretty much all Arsenal. But Wolves created a couple of chances. There was a lovely volley that from Sarabia that, maybe a couple of seasons ago, he's scoring that when he was not on that form, when he was scoring good goals. So they created a couple of chances. We created a couple of chances. And we found it hard to break down a 5-man defence. So this is where the Odegaard was a miss, where, you give the ball to Waneri and it's hard. It's hard. And Martinelli was having one of those games. Unfortunately, just couldn't trap a sack of cement. Everything was dribbled away, easily tackled. Defensively, really well, getting back, especially when we entered down 10 men. He did all the off-the-ball work really well. On the ball, I just wrote, it's just annoying. He was just having one of those games. Trossard, I think, stepped up. I think he did really well. And another player to call out was Raya. He made a good couple of saves, especially in the second half from Cunha and Aït-Nouri that you expect him to save, but in the moments if they'd have gone in, I saw the Aït-Nouri one. I think that was. I thought at the time, he's got to be doing better, but actually, he did as well as he could. But Wolves created some chances and. We did well enough to hold them out. So, and actually after the red, we didn't really change and we still dominated. If you're going to go down to 10 men against the team, it's Wolves, because I didn't realize how bad they were. And actually, they didn't press us. They didn't try. It took only until the 60th minute that they actually started. We're playing against 10 men here. We need to be a bit more front-footed, and we were dominant in the second half for the first 15 minutes, and so. So it was. I think we will still would have won that had it stayed 11 versus 10. So that's sort of my overall view on it. The one thing that helped us was the Gomez red card on 70 minutes. 2 yellows, but do you think it should have been a straight red?
Yeah, I probably do, to be honest. That is a bit of a dicey one, in fairness, and I don't really mind, to be frank. The same outcome occurs, right? So, and actually, 2 yellows sort of works. Doesn't that sort of work in our favour? And it's 2 yellows unvarable. It is, isn't it?
Yes. Two yellows. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe. No, Michael.
I'd rather see a second yellow given because if it's against the other team,
Yeah.
because then there's no way VAR's potentially going to overturn it.
I see. This is what we've come to. So no, we've got to game a decision to get it in our favour, which is utter bullshit. So
It's just
the bullshit counts in this pod is ridiculous. But
it's just an observation. Yeah. I like to not necessarily
no. But
when an opposition team given a red card.
But you know full well that if he had given a straight red there, VAR would have gone, Michael, I think you need to check this because I don't think there's excessive force.
No, but in all seriousness, if he'd given a red there, I think the potential
VAR would have found a way.
I was really 50-50 on a couple of watchings of it. So genuinely, I mean, the hilarious thing is, I don't know whether VAR would actually do it's not a red, we're downgrading it to a yellow. But
no, you can't.
No, it doesn't. All right.
It doesn't.
Just ridiculous, isn't it? So.
Yeah. You can upgrade it. I think you can upgrade a yellow to a red because they say, oh, no, that's a red card, not a yellow, like Saliba. But I don't think you can downgrade to a yellow. So, no,
I mean, it's the sort of thing that's just ridiculous about VAR anyway, isn't it? It's just it's the various regulations on how you can use it and what it can do and what it cannot do are just like myriad and strange and just don't work, and it makes it not fit for purpose. But anyway,
but I love that
got
take.
Me now on my subject that I really dislike is bloody VAR and the use of it. Again, the concept of it is fine. The execution is absolutely abysmal.
And totally agree. But I love that concept. Thank God it was a yellow card, so it could not be changed. Brilliant. Oh my God, that's what we've come to. That is what we've come to. Okay. And then obviously Calafiori had come on for Waneri, and actually I think he helped us progress the ball. He's such a force of nature and driving forward. And I think is maybe more confident than MLS in driving forward with the ball and into attacking spaces. You know, he don't think he hesitates with whereas I think with MLS it's he has that great move where he gets the ball, he shields it and then progresses forward. But I think he's always looking at the now where do I pass it off option. Whereas Calafiori is like, I've got the ball, I'm going. Catch me if you can, and I think that helped us. I think that helped us move the ball forward, and then he came on. I think he did well with no joke. And look, and he got us the winner. So Martinelli, the one decent attacking thing that he did was we're playing out down our right. So he was on the right at this time. Is it down our right? Yeah. He left footed cross it. So another one of these in swingers. It was headed out, and then Calafiori was there to first time half volley it into the bottom corner. Now, I think something in terms of what I was watching was a bit delayed, and sort of my son told me, "I think we're 1-0. I think we're 1-0 up," and it was like, "Where?" And I couldn't see the goal coming. Then all of a sudden, my only fear was, I'm so pleased Havertz did not touch the ball because. I've watched it loads of times and I thought, oh shit, I think he was offside there. He went for it and thankfully missed it, and thankfully he was not in the line of sight. He was sort of side on and away. He was not in line of sight, so I'm sure they would have tried to chalk it off, but thank God he didn't touch it. What did you make of the goal?
I mean, I loved it. To be completely frank, there's something about the way that Calafiori runs onto it and just gives it a bit of a go that I really, really enjoyed. He
doesn't try and control it and do this, that, and the other. He's just like, fuck it, I'm going to hit it.
I loved who it was, and I think it comes down to what you said earlier about kind of him versus MLS. I think MLS is. I don't think there's much hesitation with him. I think he's a distributor, is what I think MLS is. And I think on the other hand, Calafiori is this sort of he is this aggressive, striding player. And a bit more chaotic, to be fair. And it felt like that was just coming out in that goal, and it was lovely to watch and really great to see from a kid that has just not felt like he's had the breaks this season in his first year in. And that's second goal for the season for him.
Yeah, the other one against Man City, another banger. So
he's had a couple of that was a hell of a goal, wasn't it? So a couple of important goals, and hopefully he can kick on and get himself to play a bit more football, because if he does, we're looking fantastic down that left side in general for a while.
Well, that's the one thing. If we're going to get someone sent off in our team, please be a left back.
Yeah.
Because we've got loads of those. We've got loads of them. Send 2 of them off. It's still got more than anyone needs. I think that's that's fine. I think he was. I don't think he was intended to play today at all. Maybe a few minutes if we were winning, but we rushed him on. So let's hope there's no breakdown and all the rest. It didn't look like it, and maybe his trademark celebration is running to the bench and just celebrating with all the blue coats.
Yeah,
because he did that against City as well. So so let's see. But look, and then after that, I said there was the Aitnuri chance. I think Cunha had a shot from distance. But it was one of those ones where the game got killed in terms of stop-starts, free kicks, corners, clearances. I think there was one brilliant corner that I thought Jova was all over. There wasn't one single Arsenal player in the box. I think Jova masterclass, that one. But we get the fuck in. Game over. Arsenal 1, Michael Oliver 0. So there we go. And look, I was going to ask. Did you get any thoughts on Cunha in terms of, did you pick up anything from, did it make you want to sign him? Did it make you less want to sign him? Did it make you think, no, he's a 10 million player at best? I don't know what.
So funny enough, the main impression I got from yesterday was from a Wolves fan that I was out with.
Okay. Oh, nice.
He was absolutely banging on about how good Matheus Cunha is. From what I saw in the highlights, he was basically their most threatening player who was involved in pretty much everything he did. So that's good. I've seen a bunch of him before. I've always liked him. To be honest, I've liked him back when he was at Atletico and saw bits and bobs from him. He's a very, very good footballer. He's got that bit of doggedness and real sort of energy that I think would fit in with the team as it is at the moment. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I'd rather he was on the pitch against us yesterday because he was the one player who seemed to be threatening everything I saw. So, but it's a decent little showcase. How did it make you feel? Any more likely to improve of that?
Yeah, 50 million at best. 50, 60 million at best. Anything above that, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go for it. He calls out he was doing a bit of Thierry Henry and calling out other players for not being in the place where he passed the ball to. No, it wasn't my fault for not passing it to you.
I mean, that's literally prime Thierry. We've watched
prime Thierry. But he was trying stuff. You can see there's a player in there. Put him in a decent team. He will. You think he'd maybe put those chances away that Havertz had. So it's just how much I wouldn't ruin our summer for him. But let's see. But you're right. For Wolves, who are struggling, fourth from bottom on goal difference. Yeah, whether they sell him or not, can they get an alternative? I don't know. So, yeah, of course, we need someone. He's more than a body. Would I pay over the odds for him? Well, it's not my money, so fuck it. Yeah, get him in. Right.
I think you're 100% right, though. As you say, don't ruin the summer. It is one of those. Don't ruin the summer for it. But
yeah, it's a toughie.
Until the point at which you then just completely contradicted yourself, saying it's somebody else's money. Fuck it.
Get in.
I think he's at least a player where I just don't see that there'd be any huge buyer's regret with him because he's been playing Premier League for that long. And actually, yes, he's having a particularly purplish patch this year, but he's looked good for 3 years. This is just the most productive that he's been. So, honestly, I'd really like to see him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so, right, we're very quick. We're going to talk about Girona. No, we're coming to part 2. Girona on Wednesday. Looking forward to anything? Not looking forward to anything?
Not really. I don't have that many impressions apart from the fact that they're a bit crap this season compared to last year, and it'd be really nice to do one over on a City Group team, wouldn't it? So, if we could go and get a win against, Girona are City's little feeder team and loanee team, aren't they? And I think actually, funny enough, the chap that you were talking about as potentially signing the other day, Sverre something, the young Norwegian lad.
Naipan, is there something like that?
The one. Yep, Sverre Naipan. He's the talk of him going to City is that he would immediately go on loan at Girona. So if they beat us to that signing, that's probably where he's ending up.
Idiots.
So this is so for me. Actually, there's a little bit of needle here for me because I kind of see them as being,
Good.
I'd like to go and
City's
do it.
little young cousin or something
Gives you an
stupid like that.
opportunity to beat City 3 times in a year, doesn't it? So why not?
That would be nice. Okay. I'm looking forward to not having Michael Oliver referee us, and I think a chance for fringe players to play. Again, I think it's always quite cool when we get to see some of those guys play and see how we do, especially in a game like that, which we want to win, but it's not the end of the world if we don't. And what I'm not looking forward to is more dumb shit happening to Arsenal. Whatever it is, but normally it's the UCL, so Champions League, so it should be fine. So, in terms of potential lineup, I think Kivior will potentially come back in. I hopefully maybe we'll see Zinchenko again. Well, maybe, depending how Calafiori reacts, maybe we have to get him up to. Depends what happens with the MLS thing. We need to get him up to speed for City next week. So I think we'll have City in mind. Jorginho, I think will play. Rest Rice. I don't know. It will be changed. I don't know. It depends who's fit. I think Sterling will come in again. As I said, Jorginho will come in again. I think Kivior will come in again. We need to give Timber a rest. He is running in quicksand. That guy. He will still give 100%. He's still everywhere. There's just not a lot of knee lift in his running at the moment. So if we can give him a rest, I would happily have. You know what, Arteta, play Party at right back, please, because we need to give Timber a fucking rest, or someone else at right back, just not Timber.
I kind of feel like one of the 4 left backs could have a go.
Exactly.
I really think it's a thing,
Yeah. So, do you think we go for the win or not care? I mean, we're guaranteed. I think we're 99.7% guaranteed to qualify in top 8, even if we lose. I think in order to drop out of the top 8, we need to lose and everyone below us win, and then have an 8-goal swing, which is not happening.
No.
But if we secure top 4, it will help with seeding. So, with that in mind, do we go a little bit stronger? I mean, it is Girona after all.
But Girona were really good last season, in fairness.
Yeah.
They were top of the Liga for about 5 months or something stupid like that.
Well, let me put you at ease then before you answer that question.
Don't get me wrong, they've been awful in the Champions League. They are, and they've been relatively crap in the Liga this season. I'm well aware of that. I've been really enjoying it personally.
Good. Wow, you really don't like Girona.
Weirdly, I actually worked in a town right near there as well.
Wow. Okay, nice.
Called Sabadell. It's like, again, it's another sort of Catalan.
Are they like local rivals, like the non-league teams?
They've got a minuscule football team, but no, Girona is just one of those. They are this artificially created, City Group club. Basically, they were not.
Oh, wow.
This was a nothing of a team until City went in. And sort of turned it into what it is today. So, I do have a bit of a problem with them. Not with the fans have been around for ages or the town or whatever.
Yeah.
I just have a bit of an issue with essentially them being the downstream benefactors of financial doping that is City. And it's even more impactful in La Liga. Because literally, City haven't actually signed loads of players for them. They just sent a load on loan and all of a sudden they're good. Finishing second and third and whatever.
All right, fuck it. We're going full strength. Let's kill them.
Right. And this is my thing. So I'm like, to be honest, I want to just do them. So I want to send a full team.
All right,
and they are still in the Champions League. They are still a team that's in top half of La Liga. And to be honest, we have just laboured to beat Wolves, regardless of what else was around it. I do think you need to send a half decent team,
Okay.
And also, who is in our rested side now? Because I think we've only got about 16 players fit, Tabs. I don't know what suggestions are.
The physio's picking it, as I say. I've been saying recently, get Arteta out of there, put the physio in charge.
Was Jova having a game or what?
I don't know. I'm getting my boots ready. Even Arteta is. Maybe we'll put Pear at the back, get him out there. So we'll see. Look, in terms of Girona, so people who don't know, they're 31st, so they've got 3 points. They've played 7, won 1, lost 6. They've scored 4, let in 11. But they have not been beaten massively. So they lost 1-0 to PSG away, lost 3-2 to Feyenoord at home, Their only win was against Slovan Bratislava, who are in 35th place, who haven't won a game. Now, their biggest defeat was PSV away against 4-0. Then they lost to Sturm Graz 1-0. Liverpool only beat them 1-0, and they put a strong team out there. The likes of Van Dijk and who's that other guy that plays up front for them? Oh, Salah playing, and they only lost 1-0 away to Milan. So they don't get tanked. They don't win, but they don't get tanked, but they don't really score. So in come Arsenal, and there's your goal. Right. Anyway, so and in the La Liga, they're eighth. I think they're eighth. So they won a couple, lost a couple, drawn a couple. They won 28 points up to 20 games. Oh, that's it. Oh, they've won 5 at home and won 3 away, lost 4 at home, lost 4 away. So, they're an indifferent team midway. They got something. I think Miguel Gutierrez is one of their better players. They've even got Brian Hill, ex Tottenham, and Donny van der Beek, is he Man United? Ex
United and Everton, along with Arno Danjuma from Everton as well.
Is that Danjuma? Okay, yeah.
I mean, it is a collection of players who weren't very. It's weird, actually. It's where I think they're a worse team than last season. Last season they had a bit more young talent, but this season they brought a few players in to meet the demands of the Champions League, and I just don't think they, unfortunately, are a good calibre of player.
And one of their main players, Gutierrez, he's actually out. He's out with a shin injury. MLS must have come in and taken him out with a massive touch of his shin pad. Yeah. So there we go. So prediction, what are we going for?
I'm probably going to go 2-0.
2-0. Yeah.
I don't think we'll push it too much, and I think we can get a 2-0. I'd be delighted if we did.
Yeah, it is go in, win, get out. Very similar to Zagreb. Don't overextend yourself. We've got City at the weekend. Bigger fish to fry. Let's do their little sister. There you go. In, and we'll see what happens. So look, I was hoping to get this done in 45 minutes, but fuck that. It wasn't happening. It was too much to say. So look, thank you, Jamie, for joining me today. I'm sorry I had to get you out of your hangover bed to discuss Arsenal and rile you up a little bit. So at least your heart's pumping for the day. So thank you for joining me today.
No worries. Thank you, Tabs.
And look, you can follow us on Threads and Blue Sky at The Grove ASC. The next show will be out post Girona, pre-Man City. And look, thank you everyone for listening. And if you made it this far, we won despite of what happened. Just think of Calafiori and go and enjoy your day. And so all that leaves me to say is until the next time, fuck you, Michael Oliver, and come on, you Gunners.